What's up guys, it's Chris at FlyRyde.com. I'm going to show you the Switchback Module, how it's installed, and just a couple different uses that you can set it up with. The first thing that you'll notice about this is that there's 4 different wires coming out of them, and they're all color coded, actually pretty straightforward. You have a ground wire, which is black, a power wire, which is red, then you have a white wire that's typically going to control white or red LEDs depending on headlight or taillight, and then yellow is for the signal or the trigger, whichever you want to use the signal coming in that's going to make this thing switch from one color to the next. On the other side you're going to see different connectors and little T-taps, and right now I'll go ahead and show you how the T-taps work. What you'll do when you get these things is just disconnect them right from the end, just pull them out, and then you're going to want to tap this little connector right onto the wire that you want to get your signal from. So if it's the parking light wire, the turn signal wire, you're going to crimp this little thing right around it. So let me show you how that looks right now. Alright, so I just got a regular pair of pliers, and I'm going to show you with the T-tap how it's going to be crimped onto the wire. So here's just a regular wire. This is about 18 gauge, and all I'm going to do is put this tap around it and then squeeze down on it like an alligator mouth, and then I'm just going to squeeze down on the pliers. It snaps right into place, and now this thing can be used to tap into that wire. No need to cut it, twist tape, anything like that. You just crimp it down into place and you got a great tap to work with. Okay, so this is a custom headlight for the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, and it has dual color angel eyes, and it's been fit with the switchback module so that the white come on with the parking lights and the amber come on with the turn signal. So if you would turn on the parking lights on the car, you would typically just have the white rings on, and when you hit the turn signal, it interrupts the white altogether. It'll keep the white off as long as the signal is coming in. As soon as the signal stops, it'll flip the white back on. So that's the general way that the switchback module works inside. So I'm going to give a little demonstration on how this thing can be hooked up using different wires coming from either the taillights or the headlights. Doesn't really matter how you have it set up, as long as you are understanding which wires need to go to which source wire. So first thing I'm going to do is just pull off all the T-taps, since I already have some connectors set up here, so I'm not going to need to actually tap into anything. I'm going to hook up my ground wire first. Now I'm going to hook up my power wire. And now that there's power and ground hooked up, the relay is just going to go ahead and send voltage straight out of this guy. So as soon as I hook up the ground wire for my test panel here, and I plug in the wire for the red LEDs, they're just going to come on automatically. Alright, so now I'm going to take my trigger wire, or the one that would typically be hooked up to a turn signal wire, and I'm going to plug it into a switch that I have set up right here that's just bridged over to the power. So anytime that I flip the switch, it's going to send power down that wire, trigger the relay, and then it's going to go ahead and shut off the red and power up the amber LEDs. So last thing I got to connect right here is just my amber LEDs, and I'll show you how it works. So anytime you would be driving and you hit the turn signal, it's just going to shut off that red, and as long as that voltage is being seen at the trigger wire, it's going to keep the red off. Then there'll be a short delay after the power is cut off, and it'll resume the power to the red. So this is kind of the way that a car works when it's sending that signal through to the amber. It's just going to be an on-off 12-volt pulse, and so that's how the relay functions. So now I'm going to show you how to hook it up inside a headlight, and we're going to do the other side of this Hyundai Genesis Coupe custom headlight with the dual projectors and the dual switchback angel eyes with the module. So I have the other side of this headlight, and it already has one projector with the angel eye attached to the inside, and then the outer lens has the other shroud with the angel eye mounted to it. So first thing I'm going to do is just the wiring on the inside of this light. So I'll get a little close up on that so you can see which wires are tapped into. And specifically, this is a Korean spec Hyundai Genesis Coupe headlight, which means that it doesn't have the typical corner bulb that would be mounted up here that has a wire running to it. So I'll show you what that looks like too right now. Like I mentioned, there's no wire that runs across the middle, but here you can see a US spec headlight, and it actually has a bulb that's right here. So these wires go down. This makes it really easy to tap into power and ground for the running lights. So if you're just doing white angel eyes, these are the two wires that you mess with. They're right across the center of the headlight, so they're easy to access. But if you're working with the Korean spec headlight, you don't have that. So what we're going to do instead is tap into the three wires that are going to the dual filament running light and turn signal bulb. So you have a turn signal right here, then you have a running light and a ground wire, and the problem is you have two black wires and a brown wire. I know the brown wire is turn signal, but you need to identify which one is power and ground for the running lights. So I'll show you a trick to do that right now using a test light. Okay, so here's a test light. It's really simple. Basically put the clip onto a ground wire, and then anytime you poke something that is 12 volts or any voltage at all, you're going to have a little light that lights up inside of here. So I'll show you really quick. I'm just going to hook this up to the ground wire, and then when I test I'll click that. This is a 12 volt wire that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this 12 volt wire up to what I know to be the ground pin on the back of this headlight, and then I'll poke around and find which is the actual wire I need to tap into on the front side. If you're wondering, there's one pin missing on the Korean spec headlight in the very bottom corner, and it would be the pin directly next to that. So on this headlight, the very bottom pin on the turn signal bulb was the one that was the ground wire. On this one, it looks like it's the center. So that's the wire I'm going to want to tap into for ground. I'll tap into this one for turn signal, and this bottom one I'm going to tap into for running lights. So now I'm going to use these T-taps that we had that were inside the module, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap on each wire so that I can access it for my switchback module. Some of these you might want to tap kind of higher up so that they don't get in the way of the alignment of the actual headlight. Okay, so everything's tapped up. Now what I'm going to do is, since I know this is a Korean spec headlight, I'm going to include, if you need it, just go ahead and let me know ahead of time. I'll include extra wires to extend the harness from the switchback module. So this is going to be the yellow for turn signal, and then I also have another wire that I'm going to plug in for the power and ground for the running lights. Here's the other wire for the running lights. Hook up the red to the bottom one, since we know the middle one is the ground wire. So what I want to do now is make sure that these taps are underneath this chrome section right here, so that they're never going to interfere with it being aligned left to right. Okay. And we're going to run these together. So now we can actually install the module, and I'll show you how to do that now. The best way to install the module on the Genesis Coupe headlights is to actually unscrew the area where the bulb twists in. So I'm going to remove my bulb really quick. I'm going to go ahead and just take the screws out of this little plate, which is really quick and easy. You can try to jam it in there, but this is definitely the way to go. Okay, So I'm just going to remove this, set it to the side, and then I'm going to run the module wires straight up the back side, and then I'll want to tuck them underneath the alignment bolt. Make sure that these other wires are tucked back into place where they belong, so I can access them later. Okay. So got my module wires all pulled out, and it's all tucked underneath the projector. The reason that we did that is because that little tab right here, it doesn't like to be messed with. So if you try to fit that little module underneath it, it's just going to get caught. Use a hand tool when you put these things back on so that you don't strip the bolt or strip the threads inside it. Okay, throw your bolt back in and you're good to go. Now it's kind of looking crazy in here. Trust me, by the time we're done, it'll look nice and tidy. But right now what you need to do is get all the wires into place, identify everything that you need to have hooked up. So just like on the little test panel, what we're going to do is hook up the power and ground. And we hooked up power and ground right here. So we're going to go ahead and just plug the black wire into black. Red wire is going to plug into red. And then if you remember, the next thing that we did was identify which was the wire to plug into the white one. On this, all we know is that we want white LEDs to be hooked up to it. So we'll test the angel eye, find the white wire. Okay, that's not it. So what I did is I just bent this one down because I know that's the amber. So when we take the front lens off, I want to make sure the two white wires from the angel eyes go together, the two wires from the amber LEDs go together, and then the two ground wires go together as well. So now we need that clear lens with the bezel in it, and the last part is just to hook up this turn signal wire. Okay, so before I go and hook everything up, what I want to do is just test these wires, make sure that everything's lighting up how it's supposed to. The next section we're combining two wires together, and then we won't be able to go back. Okay, so we got our amber, got our white, both look really good. So now we can go ahead and flip this thing over and start twisting wires together. So what I didn't do just now was test and mark which one was the amber. Okay, so this one's amber. Fold it over just like I did before. And now I have two wires that I know are white LED. Let me get a better angle for this too. So, if you remember, we're going to hook the white LEDs up to the white wire. Just unplug that connector. Drop it, and I'll get another one. Okay, now the black wires are going together. Go ahead and do the same thing, just put the connector that is going to plug into the black wire from the relay module itself. And lastly, we'll do our amber wires. So before I forget which one's white and which one's amber, I'm just going to plug this into the amber wire from the module, and that part will be done. in my white one. One thing for sure is on these connectors, always make sure that the spade, the center section, is always right in the middle. Sometimes they get pushed down to the bottom. Try to make sure that they're always straight for you guys, but just in case. Hate to go through all this without testing things and then have it not work because you didn't check the spade. Okay. Alright, so I got everything hooked up. And we have all these wires. It's kind of looking gnarly. So we're going to go ahead and zip tie a couple things together, clean it up, and then at that point we should be able to close these things up and see how it looks. So I'm just going to take all the wires from the angel eyes, group them together, and then zip tie them just a little bit up from where the connectors are at. That'll give us room so we can lay the connectors flat underneath the bezel and they won't be getting in the way. We got plenty of slack too, so if we ever have to open these things up again, it's not going to rip any wires out just because you take the front lens off. Always something to think about. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is, just to make sure that all my wires stay nice and tidy, I'm going to go ahead and throw a little pad right here that will hold on to a zip tie. So it's definitely looking more manageable in here now. And I'm ready to put the lens on. Okay, so I got them all wired up. And there it is. And actually, this other headlight I have, these are going out with the stock bulbs, not the switchback like you see in the one side. This will at least give you an idea how it's going to look for this particular customer. So you'll have it. Something nice about keeping everything LED is if you look at the headlight on the right versus the one on the left, there's no delay that it takes for that incandescent bulb to to fire up at full strength. See that one just kind of lagging? It is brighter though, so I guess the joke's on all us LED guys. But anyway, there we go, successful mission, and you saw a few different ways to hook up those switchback modules, so enjoy the headlights. If you guys have questions, give me an email. It's sales@FlyRyde.com. You can catch me on the forums or give me a call anytime. Alright, thanks so much.